Alola everybody, Dapper Jeff here, back from my Nashville trip to the Pokemon World Championships. One thing I missed down there was a good breakfast. So I'm here to show you guys how to make a perfect Alolan breakfast featuring the staple of all Alolan snack foods, the malasada. First thing I'm going to do is grab my quarter cup of lukewarm water. Room temperature, no special cooking required. 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Go right into that lukewarm water. 1 tablespoon of sugar to my yeasty watery mix. Now you just mix this all together until the yeast dissolves. So while we're waiting for our yeast mixture to dissolve, you want to make sure you have your 1/3 cup sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon salt, and 2 teaspoons of freshly grated nutmeg. So you're going to want to take all of these dry ingredients and mix them in with 4 cups of unbleached flour. Start with my sugar, because make it nice and sweet. Next up is my salt, because you just can't have Pokemon without someone getting salty. And then, because I'm Dapper Jeff, and we'll make it a little nutty with the nutmeg. Mix this all together real good like. And in preparation for what's going to happen, you want to make a little well in the center. So after we've let our yeast mixture sit for 5 minutes, we're going to mix in 2/3 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 4 eggs, well beaten, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter, melted. Alright, next part is the fun part. We're going to take our delightful wet mixture here, and we're going to pour it right into this well that we made in our dry dough. So here we go. Whee! Look at it, it's like a swimming pool. A chunky swimming pool. Now from here, we just mix the wet and the dry together until it makes a soft, smooth dough. Alright, so we're mixing into our soft, smooth dough, and you can see it's starting to get doughy. And that's good. That's a good thing. Look at that. Look at that. So here is arguably the worst part about this dish, because when you get to about this stage where it's kind of a nice, smooth, thick dough, I mean, look at this dough. This is delicious looking. So once your dough looks like this, it's nice, it's smooth, it's soft, it's dough. We want to set it somewhere where no one's going to bother it for about an hour. That's when we take our clean, dry towel and we drape it over the bowl. Now we let that sit for an hour. After an hour, where we've let our dough rest under cover, we're going to remove the towel. Now we can see that the dough has risen. It's arguably doubled in size. What we need to do now is punch it down. Smooth, doughy. I am literally punching this dough. All right, now that I've punched the dough, I'm going to take it, and this is where the oil on the hands comes in. And we're going to break off little golf ball-ish size rounds. It says to put the dough on a greased baking sheet. I'm not using a greased baking sheet. I'm using non-stick parchment paper on a baking sheet. So after we've punched down the dough and made our little balls, which are obscenely sticky, you might want to add just a sprinkle more flour to them to cut down on the sticky and or flour up your hands. I didn't do that. Shame on me. We're going to let them sit in a warm place, covered with a towel, for another 15 minutes. Alright guys, so now that we've covered our malasada dough balls for 15 minutes, look at that. That's what we're going to be throwing in some hot oil. Next up, we're going to set up our frying station. So you're going to want some vegetable oil and a high, heavy pot. Now, depending on the size of the pot you use will determine how much oil you need. I've seen anything from 2 inches to 2 quarts. We want to make sure our thermometer is in the oil and we have enough oil where we can submerge our malasada completely. So we're going to take each malasada ball and drop it in. Well, not drop, obviously. We're going to carefully set it in so the oil doesn't splash. And we're going to leave it cook for about 7 to 10 minutes per batch, so each one is nice and golden brown all the way through. Now, I'm going to step forward for a second and get the one thing that we should always have in the kitchen, God forbid, just for emergencies. A fire extinguisher. I do have some support staff on hand in the event that this goes south. So, that having been said, I'm going to wet my hands, because when dealing with sticky, if you wet your hands, that helps combat aforementioned sticky. And we're going to take our first malasada ball. Well, that just came off real quick and easy after I oiled my hand. I'm going to carefully drop it in. So while the malasada are cooking, there's any number of things you can do. You can sit patiently and watch. You can go out and train your Pikachu. Oh my god, look at that. Dude, look at that though, like for reals.
Hey, we fried some stuff.
So what you're gonna want now is a plate lined with paper towels to absorb any excess oil. I'm using the apparatus I used to scoop out bacon to scoop our malasada. Look at that delicious, even brown color. That is nice. All right. I'm repeating the same process until all those dough balls we made earlier are nice and fried, which again, at 350, takes about 5 minutes per batch. So while I've got batch number 2 in here and almost done, I'm gonna do a quick taste test. We have this nice, even brown. That is a really good donut. These are a delicious malasada. I hope you guys liked watching how to make them, and please try this recipe at home. I'm not one of those people that says, don't do this at home. Please, do this at home. Cook for your friends, your family, but if you're a kid, well, and even if you're not a kid, if you're like me and prone to accidents, always cook with the proper safety precautions and at least one friend around so they can help you out in case you burn the house down. Don't forget, click subscribe down below, click that little bell icon so you never miss an episode. This is Dapper Jeff, hoping you've all been... Sorry, I just got this really weird text. Dapper Jeff, you've stolen our hearts with your food, now steal our taste buds. The Phantom Thieves.